A very good evening to all of you. A very good evening to all the friends who would be joining us later as well. We at Shai Shai, etc., today are not able to broadcast the live conversation on Facebook. Today's conversation is only available to you on YouTube. Today we have with us a lady who has extensively studied the Holy Quran for 15 years. Hind Mahil was born in Sudan. However, she was not able to spend her childhood or her growing up years in her own country. She's currently living in UAE and is an electrical engineer. Her passion is to be and live in the divine truth, being the highest and best version of herself, being in selfless service to humanity. And the path to selfless service is first to be the best version of you and to be able to live in your true, authentic self. That's what Hind believes in. Welcoming on board Hind Mahil for a conversation on feminine wisdom. When the Holy Quran speaks to women, what does it say? Let's hear Hind's personal perspective on the Quran and its guidance for women. Hi, Hind. How are you doing? Hello.
Okay, I think I was muted. Hello, how are you? Thank you so much, Mr. Kanchan, for having me with you. Thank you for the beautiful words that you have started this session with. Bless you.
Thank you so much for accepting our invite, Hind. And we are Guru sisters. We both follow Maitriya Dada Shriji. We both have the same divine friend. So, why Maitri Bodh Parivar Hind, and how did Maitri Bodh Parivar or Maitriya Dada Shriji, how are they instrumental in your journey of knowing and deciphering the Quran for women?
Metripop Evar came unplanned for me. So it was not by, we say it's not, there's no coincidence, but it was kind of. And it happened in Ramadan, which is the holy month. A friend of mine I was asking her that I want to go to a place where I can meditate because I felt meditation is something, it's more like of an inner calling for me. And she just took me to this session, and I felt so much connected to the teachings in the session, where they were not judgmental, they were truly liberating. And that was both one where I was awakening to self realization. And then there was Shakti Prabha. And I've never felt peaceful in my life as that, period of just 2 minutes of receiving the Shakti Prabha. And as my journey went on for 2 years with Met Bodhbhava and Mete Dada Shriji, I felt that he has simplified the teachings of all of the wisdom that became very, as you said, encrypted for us. So we understand the words, we know the verses, but we don't know how we can imply them in our lives in order to reach that serenity the book is actually explaining that a person will experience once they do 1, 2, 3, 4. But Maitreya Dada Shriji just showed me exactly the way how to imply those into my life. And since then, it's a total story and different story where it became more easier and more peaceful as well.
I think that's been the journey for most of us who have had the privilege to be connected to Dada, as we call my Priya Dada Shriji. Um, it's like the heart is full of love and compassion. It's
Yes,
like it's like forgiveness comes without a blink of an eye. And you know,
100%.
even when I speak of my Pranada Shrijis, my eyes get teary. There's so much of love filled in the heart.
100%. And it shows us that all of those boundaries that we have put around the divine means that divine is in a place very far, and we need to please the divine so he pleases us. So the full relationship with our divinity started to become more of a mathematical equation. I need to pray. I need to wear this. I need to fast. I need to do one, two, three in order to please the divine. Otherwise, the divine will not be pleased and I will not get what I want in this life. My life will be a very difficult journey. I will be punished. And that came to a question mark when they kept the rituals, but they faced the challenges, and the challenges were very strong. The question that arose why, and I was one of them. So how come? Why is the divine punishing me with such kind of a challenge when I've been such a good worshipper? Because this is what we thought, tit for tat. I gave you my time. I've stopped all of the things that you told me to stop, and obeyed all of the things that you told me to obey in order for you to be pleased, my divine, and according to that you please me. But then Dada Shriji showed us what the divine is. The divine is everywhere, within us, around us, in every single thing. And we are all one because the same divine that powers me is the same divine that powers you. So that is so beautiful because it's just changed the full equation. And the divine is full unconditional love. So I don't need to do those things to please him because he already loves me for who I am, in out. And that showed me how to be more acceptant for myself, for who I am, for the challenge, for the pain, and removing the suffering out of the equation itself. It gives more of a deeper understanding of why are we here, what is our purpose, and why those challenges are arising, why pain is there, and how can we change this to suffering? Because again, there is lack of love, as is beautiful book that the cause of suffering is the lack of love, and that has changed my full relationship with my divine, because I started to see differently. So there is no longer that I am this and you are that. We are all one because we are all coming from the same source. And once I understand that, even those people who used to bother me, now try to see myself in them because I know there's part of me in them and there's part of them in me as well. So this is the full relationship with Medved Adashrija at this time, the full transformation journey that we are going through. We've been so drift away, from what is the truth. So the truth became more of a fantasy for us. We speak about love, and the first thing that comes to our mind is a romantic story that will never happen in our lives. And we speak about peace, and we see
It
that
might happen, Hind. Why would you say that that'll never happen?
no, but in real life, now with what's happening, we see that very difficult, especially with all the conditioning that we have. There's so much conditioning that we carry from what love looks like, feels like, and how it could be expressed at the same time.
So, Hind, when you talk about love and when you talk about your journey, uh, 15 years of studying the Quran, and today we talk about feminine wisdom. So, what has the Holy Quran spoken to you? when it comes to women, when it comes to the feminine bodies on the planet, what does it mean for women to have wisdom, or what space does women hold in Quran?
First of all, Quran is a very beautiful book, and it's a holy book with so much of wisdom, and it has beautiful stories. It narratives all of the teaching in storytelling. One of the most beautiful stories that I've always had so close to my heart. It's a story of a queen that the Quran speaks about, and that at the time where King Solomon was there, and he's a prophet and a messenger, and he came to know that there is a kingdom where they have a ruler. That ruler is a queen, and she's very fair. I loved how Quran gave the justice about describing this lady, how wise she was, how amazing she was towards her people. She thought of the decision before taking it. So her people told her, "Let's go to war," but she said, "No, we will not go to war because there are kids, there are women, and if war happens, villages will be destroyed for no reason." And that actually was my first encounter. I remember very well when I started reading this. What was my first encounter about, how the divine sees a lady? Because back at the time, I thought that we are second class, you know. We are not as good as a man. We cannot rule. But then I discovered that the divine doesn't say that. It speaks and it describes a full reign, and that reign comes from a very wise woman who took the path of truth just for the sake of her people. And then when she discovered what's the path of truth, she did not spare a moment not to be part of it. And one of the amazing things when Quran speaks to lady, it always speaks to a woman, it speaks always with compassion. And that's again in a very beautiful story when the mother of Moses, she just gave away her son because she doesn't want, the son to be killed. And how the divine spoke about, he held her heart
So
in
she
his hand.
sacrificed her son for the purpose, for the cause.
At the time, there were, the fair time, he used to start all the boys. If your newborn was a boy, then it should be killed. So she had a boy, a baby boy, and she didn't want her boy to be killed. So she put him on the river. So the river took him. But that was a very difficult experience. As a new mom, you have your kid and you just put your kid in a place and you don't know where does it go. But then there is a beautiful verse there that the divine, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that he held her heart so she won't feel sad or she won't feel the suffering. So that was amazing. We see that today in our today life, that we see misery and we think that misery was meant for us. But in the book, it showed all of the misery there. It was not meant for anyone. We perceive it as misery. But what he has meant for us was different, was total love. And one of the most amazing thing is more than 14,000 years ago, 1,400 years ago. Think yes, 1,400.
1400 years ago.
Yeah, 1400s, yes, that's true. Numbers are tricky. The right of voting for women was granted in Quran. Back at the time where the society itself did not actually give any rights for a lady to say, yes, I vote to this reign or not. But it was actually granted for ladies. And again, it had went so specific on a way she must be treated in a marriage as a daughter, as a mother, more than anything else. It gives what should be treated in respect. It should be treated in love. her opinion should be taken care of, and whatever
Hind,
opinion has, yes,
Hind, when we talk about the Holy Quran, a 1400-year new, young religion and belief practice that has
yes,
come into being with, which was, the initial funding for Islam, the initial funding to take Islam to the world was done by a lady, uh,
very true, very true.
Khadija, right? The
Radiallahu anha.
initial,
Very true.
yeah. So, women, as per Islam, as per Quran, were supposedly intelligent. They're present in the business aspect, in the commercial aspect, as well as their wisdom was valued in matters that mattered on the table. Their wisdom was taken into account on the table, whether it be the matters of religion, whether it be the matters of belief, humanity, or community, or the world as a whole,
Or politics as well.
or politics.
Yes.
What changed? What changed? And why do you think today women uh, are not honored the way it was meant to, as per the Holy Quran or as per Islam?
I think humanity, our region, it's not only
Hmm.
women, because it explains very clearly that happiness of a community starts with the happiness of an individual. So a person who mistreats another person is a person who is not happy with himself. That's why he can't see himself in the others or herself in the others. That's where the full thing started. And it is a long story since the beginning of time itself, where people know the truth and then they drift from the truth. And then again, something happens to take them back to the truth. But the truth will always reveal itself over and over again, showing a person who's looking for it that this is the truth. I'm not sure when or where what happened, to be honest. But what I'm sure of that whoever reads um, the Holy Quran and really contemplates on it will understand that the divine did not confine any person, a female or a male, nor a child, in any ties or relationship that they don't desire, regardless what it is. But then comes society, and the reign of society is powerful, more powerful, where people put what they think is more important, and then they interpret that it's part of religion, or this is what they understood, what the book wanted them to say. But again, for a real, for a real person who really is looking for the truth has been always there. I hope
So
that answers.
when you say that the truth is, when you say that the truth has always been there, uh, why why were women put into a space wherein they were not allowed to express themselves? Or do you think it is a myth that women in Islam were not allowed to express themselves?
As I told you, back at the time when the full, no, I can't go into history because history again is subjective. There's a lot of things there. You never know what's the truth and false on it. But from my own readings, it's a personal choice. You choose what it is, and you choose the responsibility of the fight afterwards. So I've been into the community where they will not think of a lady as an engineer because they think that if you become an engineer, and especially electrical engineer, but this conversation actually happened in my own family. When I said this is what I want, they said, no, that's not a ladylike. But I've never believed in that. And when again we speak about women into big roles, important roles, they said, no, that's not where a lady should be. But again, the stories that the book says, it speaks about important women who have changed the history. And that did not match up. Then when I started giving this kind of conversation, it's just like, but that story spoke about that lady or that woman who did this and that. It's like, oh no, but she's special. It's just like, and how do you know I'm not that special? How do you
Each
know?
woman is special. Each woman
Exactly.
is special, and each
100%.
woman has the strength. If she can give birth to another human, she has the strength to carry the world on her shoulders. She has the wisdom of the mother. She has the wisdom of the earth. She has the wisdom of the universe. The only thing is, you know, how many rights do we allow her? Because over the years
How, but
it is
how
it
many
has
rights
become
she
more of
allows herself?
allowance. It
Now,
has
how many
become more
rights she
of
allows
allowance.
herself? It's all about us. How many rights she allows herself?
So it's
Because
not
at the
about
end of the day,
anybody else allowing her, it's about
no,
her allowing herself, right?
100%, 100%. It's about her allowing herself and being brave to express herself without being afraid of the confinement of whatever society she's in. And that is the power that the Holy Quran, when it speaks with the woman, it doesn't speak with the woman as a follower, it speaks to her as a leader, as a decision maker, as a soul. She has her words that is being heard by the divine himself. That's a beautiful story actually about that. So, and I'd love to speak about it because it was empowerment to a lady in the time, even it was a teaching for the Prophet himself. So there was a lady, her husband, they were in a fight, and he cursed her that she won't be his wife again. And after some time come, he wanted to come back, but she went because that just broke the secrecy of marriage before divorce, as a divorce was mentioned in Quran itself. And she went to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she started complaining about it, that this man disrespected me and disrespected me in front of my family, and now he wants to come back. And how is that? Because since the Quran came, it started empowering women. And she felt going back to that, to her husband, just like that, it's a mistake. And in that sacred place where no one is listening to their conversation, a full surah came that Allah, the Divine, has been hearing this conversation, and He has answered her that no, you will not get back to your husband until your husband learns the lessons of how to respect you. And for that to happen, any husbands with disrespect his wife this way, he cannot go back until three difficult conditions he has to apply for. You can understand how powerful that was. In a time where a lady is just thinks she's a follower, she doesn't have any decision. Because, yeah, I'm not powerful, No, it came. He cannot go back to her unless either he do this, and if he doesn't, more difficult one, and if he doesn't, a more difficult one, and then you'll go back and you honor her. So you can understand that it's the choice at the end of the day. See, that she chose to respect her position, just as she listened to these beautiful verses before. She felt that that's not right, just to do that. And for such kind of ladies, there will always be a solution. I don't believe of a female who's weak. As you said, if you can give birth, there is no chance of you being weak at all. If you can raise a kid, there is no chance for you to be weak unless we choose to. And that was very well explained in the verses of Quran, how empowering a lady in any time, any space she lives in, regardless, she's protected with the laws that the divine has put. And for those who would mistreat the lady and thinks that they have the upper hand, the speech in Quran for those people is very harsh, more harsh than anything else. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that those who don't honor them, they are his direct enemy. Could you believe it?
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So again, it's my choice to know that yes, the divine is by my side. I will not accept any kind of injustice from me in the name of I'm a woman. And in Quran, there was no verse that speaks about a woman that she is less powerful than a man. Not in any verse that she cannot give as much power as a man can give, regardless faith, as I said, commerce, politics, community. There was no verse speaks about that.
Could you
So
tell us about? Yeah, sorry. Please continue.
no, I just like so that tells us exactly how the divine sees us, and that's important. Does, but what happens actually? We tend to please who's around us more than actually pleasing ourselves, and that's where the issue actually.
So that issue could be for every human man or woman. We
100%.
uh, we have been conditioned in a manner that we've forgotten what our holy text said. We've forgotten what the ancient wisdom told us about how to live life in a joyous, compassionate, loving manner.
Very true.
However, coming back to today's reality, uh, what is it in Quran that talks about women and wisdom? Could you give us some stories or some verses which talks about women's wisdom?
Actually, it speaks about a very beautiful story of the mother of Maryam, which is known normally to everyone as Mary. So, Maryam alayhi salam, her mother, she wanted to have something very special, a special breed. So, while she was pregnant, she has devoted the upcoming child to be for the worship of the divine. And she was hoping that she will have a boy, a prophet, a messenger. And the divine actually gave her a girl, Maryam. And what she said was very beautiful. She said, uh, أتيتها مريم. I can't remember it actually very well. That's I've named her Maryam, and that she's a female. وليس الذكر كالأنثى. And that is, I thought that a boy would be for me the best, but a male is not a female. And it's not to degrees, but she has been shown the truth. You never know whom is better, and there is no differentiation between both of them. Through a beautiful experience of uh, understanding that devoting your own life or your own kid, regardless it's a male or a female, to the divine will give you the miracle. And she was a miracle. So wherever she was praying and in praising, prosperity and abundance would be in the same area. So there was another prophet who has been her uncle. His name is Zechariah. And he was just so mesmerized of how amazing and devoting she is and how blissful she is wherever she goes. And he had prayed there. He didn't have any kind of kids. And he was infertile. And so seeing how beautiful she is and how prosperous she is wherever she goes, he asked her, Miriam, how come that wherever you go there is prosperity? And she said, it's not mine. I'm not the doer. It's only the divine. At a young age, she understood what's the truth about life. And he there asked the divine to have a breed just like Mary. So her wisdom and the way she carried her life since a young age made a very well-known prophet ask for what really his heart desired because he believed it will be happening. And this is another story. There is another story of Pharaoh, the Pharaoh's wife. So the Pharaoh was he was a tyrant, and he was a
Okay.
very
Okay.
difficult, yeah, and very difficult man. But his wife is Asia, and
Sorry?
his wife named Asia,
Hmm.
and she was a very good person. She was a worshiper, and she loved the divine. And whatever had there happening with her husband as a Terran, she did not agree to, although that put her in a very difficult situation with her husband.
But
But
she stood her ground.
yes, exactly. And she has a beautiful prayer that may the divine replace whatever I'm living here with a beautiful place in the heavens where I can experience the real peace. And these heavens, for those who knows, were the heavens within her. So it was beautiful. So many stories, to be honest, Kanchan, there about beautiful ladies who have changed the history, changed how things happen, taught people, taught prophets. It is not about a male or a female in Quran, to be honest, because over and over again, the divine in Quran, the Holy Book, speaks about the unity, how we are all one. And he speaks about that in the verses that we were all created from one soul, and that soul had its twin. So we are all one. So, and again, the real delusion Quran speaks about is the delusion that I'm a female and he's a male, and he's a male and I'm a female. Because at the end of the day, there is
At
nothing.
the end of the day, we are all part of the yin and yang. We all
Yes,
complete each
yes,
other.
exactly,
At, at
exactly,
the end of the day, be it your twin soul, be it your mirror soul, or be it you looking at yourself, it is the completion within you that you seek.
exactly. And so the full thing that actually is arising in our new worlds, where you see, throughout the history how females had, fought for their rights. But again, as you see it, you understand that it is part of an experience, the experience of unity. It's not an experience of who's better and who's important, because both are important. And no, there is no equation here for this is better than that. The full experience that we came in this two side of a coin to experience this full experiential of being, a female or being a male, being a male, being a female, whatever it is that is there. And I think now we are more getting there to understanding the truth of this creation. More important to understand, it's all about the love within.
So, when you talk about the love within, there have been stories of Bibi Fatima and many other worshipped women in the Holy Quran who have made brave sacrifices for humanity, for the growth of humanity. Could you tell us something about that?
Yes, but Fatima, radiallahu anha, she's the daughter of Prophet Muhammad. She was not mentioned as that in Quran, um, but the full house of Prophet Muhammad was mentioned of the house of wisdom, where that house shared so many wisdom and so many light, because the divinity, when there is how can I call it in English? I've got no idea. It's just like the inspiration, al-wahi, where Quran came, to Prophet Muhammad. It happened in that house. So they have experienced the divine presence. They have experienced the angel presence in that house. Experienced the light, and they've learned the values of the faith from the source itself directly. And they were asked to start teaching everyone after Prophet Muhammad, start teaching and keep the knowledge alive by teaching everyone what was really there and what they have experienced and witnessed. So they were the first teachers and they were the first, what we call them now, gurus, for understanding exactly what is the faith of the divine and what are the values of Islam, which means peace. They have spread this. They took the message from Prophet Muhammad and they took it into them to deliver it to as many as they can. But as sacrificing, there's a lot in the ancient history that speaks about sacrifice, and other ladies were not mentioned that they fought for the right and the rightness of humanity at the time of Prophet Muhammad. And they were as good as a real soldier and a knight. They were no less. So there were knights from males and knights from females. They stood still. They were very um, they were very clear on their mission. They did not spare a minute to go for it. Those ladies were not mentioned, and those men were not mentioned, but their action was there and kept going on. But there is a beautiful story I would love to share.
Please
This
do. Please.
Thank you. This story is about two girls who used to take care of their father, and they used to do the full chorus for their own father. And as they took the cattle to the well, because there were two ladies and two sisters helping, their old father, and a very holy being there was, and he looked at them, how they were just taking care of their cattle, waiting for everyone to go. So after everyone, they will take the cattle and give them the water from the well. So he helped them, and as they went back to their father, they told their father, "Father, we think there is a good man out there for us, and we want you to call him, and we want you to reward him for him helping us." And then their father called that, and that was Prophet Moses, Musa
Hmm.
alayhi salam. And before he has been known as a prophet or before he has been known as a messenger, he was a flea. He just killed someone and fled from his own place, looking for shelter. But those two girls saw the truth in him that no one saw it, not even those who lived by him. And this is how amazing a true a true lady could be. She can see directly the truth of a person. And they took him in, took care, one of them married him until he became the prophet that we know. But that peace that he had encountered was encountered because of those two ladies.
So, when we talk about women wisdom, when we talk about women wisdom as per Quran, there have been stories of not only warriors, women in decision making roles, but also women as mystics, also women as mystics who have helped change the world become a better place.
Very true, very true. And the most important thing that there are lots of there lots of errors that the Quran had actually covered. So from the beginning of time, Adam and Eve, till the part where Prophet Muhammad was, and it had some prophecy of what's going to happen in the future. So the Quran has embraced those values of who is going to come in the future. This is a very nice one. He has embraced those who are honest. He has embraced those who would be faithful to themselves and to their cause, to those who would be selflessly serving, for those who would be uh, taking care of the truth and making sure to teach this truth to anyone that they encounter. And for those believers and faithful, um, there was big reward for them. And it's this is for everyone that comes after that eras that has been covered. So this is the start of time as we know it till the time where the book has been. But it speaks about others who went and left everything there, their houses, their kids, and everything, just for the sake of truth. And they've just took that journey from where they were known as the ladies of their times. They were known as the most important, the rich ladies, to nothing, just because they have answered the calling of the divine in their heart. And for those who took those amazing risks, for that, the Quran has empowered them as al-muhajirat, which is those who have took the journey. From that time and forever, whoever is there, a woman, a teenager, a big lady, whatever it is, whom she follows the truth, she would always be protected by the divine for that. As a story is itself, there is a beautiful story of, and it's different from what a normal story. It's the story of
Please go
Yusuf,
ahead.
Yusuf alayhi salam, and he was brought up in a place not different from where his parents were. And in that place, there, as he grew up to become a very handsome person and a very polite person as well. The lady of the house was married to the master of the house. She fell for him and she tried to seduce him, and it didn't work. So they were caught, and then she said that I didn't do anything. And then the gossip started in the city that the lady of the house is actually falling for the boy who is living with her. And it shows how that if we want to make a point, we always can make a point. So she asked all of the ladies, the elite community, to come to her home, and she gave them small knives. And they were all, because they all saw themselves better than her. I was like, she's the lady and everything, and she just fall for the boy who works for her. And she got them all to sit and in a very comfortable place. She gave them food and knives, and she asked him to come. And he was known for his handsome. He was a very handsome person that you can't just as a lady look at him and not wonder, you know so they were all sitting. She asked him to come. And as he came inside, they were all wowed. Then they cut their hands. And she showed them that you cannot judge because you are not in my place to judge me. And when you were in my place, you did exactly what I did. And in that, the verse that comes that what we have as wisdom and intelligence in our mind is the greatest. Inna kaydahunna azim. Means when we want something, we plan for it, then that's the greatest planning that can happen.
So, is it the planning of the heart or the planning of the mind? Does wisdom mean wisdom of the mind or wisdom of the heart and soul?
So wisdom in Quran is not a knowledge. That is for sure, because there is knowledge and there is science and there is wisdom. And wisdom is where you understand the knowledge, apply the science, the full experience for you is complete, that we are one. So, through our experience, there is no rejection for what is happening. And through our experience, there is no questioning of the process. And through the learning itself, we grow. This is where the wisdom comes. And it's beautiful what it says that who has the wisdom has the highest of all. So it's not the knowledge nor the science, it's the combination of the full harmony of your mind, body, and heart. That doesn't happen between a night and, a night and dawn. It happens through a serious process of understanding, a serious process of learning, and at the same time removing all of the conditions of the communities that we came from. There's a beautiful story, and here it's not about a woman, but it's a very beautiful story about we think we know, but we actually don't know. And it's the story about Musa, where so he was traveling to go back to where his family, his mom and his sisters were. And as he was
Hmm.
traveling with his own kid, he asked the divine that I want to learn like he really wants to learn, and he has been giving amazing kind of teachings and learnings. So he met this person who has been told that he is the best, he knows the best, he has the wisdom. So they went together in a ship, and in that ship, it was a very fine ship, and the people were very nice. This man took a tool and just bunched the ship. And the ship was, it's not as it used. And Moses was very upset. It's just like, why would you do that? And they told me you're the wisest. He told them, I told you, you will not be patient with me. This is not a learning process. This is a patience process. Like, I'm sorry, I will not question you again. And then they went to a place where they found a young kid. So the man took his knife and slaughtered the kid. And then Moses was very upset. He's like, what you have done? You've just killed a soul that's an innocent soul. Oh my God, I cannot do this. It's like, I told you, you can't be patient. You will not have the patience to what I'm doing. He's like, I'm sorry. I know I've been asked to follow you. Then they went to a village. And in that village, people were very rude, very rude. And then they saw a house that's collapsing. And then this man told him, come, we will build this house. So after they built this house, sarcastically he said, and now we build the house for them. He told them, I told you you cannot go in this path. And this is the last between me and you. But I have to tell you why I did each action. The ship was belonging to very honest, and this is the only source of income for those people. And at the end of the road, there is a tyrant who takes every ship that is in a good shape. I wanted to default it so they won't get there. And they save their own souls. The kid, we have seen that he's not going to become a good person. And his family is known of saints and the best. To save the agony for his parents, we took his soul at this young age, but they will have another one. And for this house belongs to two orphans. They have a treasure beneath this house. And we know that the people here will never honor them. We built this house so those orphans can live in, and when they're old enough, they can come and take their own treasure. But this is what I know out of my wisdom, and you didn't know. So, wisdom is something beyond the knowledge itself and beyond the science itself. It is the unseen, it is the understanding of when something bad happens. Lord, thank you so much for it. There is good within it.
There is good in everything that happens. There is a purpose in everything that happens, whether moving from knowledge to wisdom, whether moving into your highest purpose, or just knowing and enjoying the moment in life. Because being the best version is enjoying every moment, living in joy, living in love, living in compassion.
100%, 100%. And actually, understanding that being the best of yourself doesn't mean that people will see you the best of yourself.
Doesn't
Approve
even matter.
you. But in our time, this is what we need to speak about. What's the truth? about being the best. Being the best is not being a person that pleases people around them. Sometimes being the best and being full of value from within might irritate people around you, even the closest around you. So this is what here where this books is actually very powerful because it describes situations that occurs in every person. And when you read the situation, you will find the answer within it. That gives you a soothing feeling that the divine is with you and speaks to you directly. And Quran, when you read it, you will not find the same meaning every time you read it. It's a living being. So when you read it, you are happy, you'll find an understanding of it. When you read it and you're upset, you'll find another understanding of it. And when you read it that you are really in pain, you will find the soothing of your pain. And that's the power of this book. It's a remedy for everything and every situation. Now, in the past, and whatever comes in the future as well.
Hind, that was so amazing. The way, with so much of ease, simplicity, and so much of compassion, the way um, you explained Quran and the way you brought out stories of the holy text.
Yes. Because again, lots of people, when we deal with the politics and we deal with the divine, we deal with them not with an open heart. We deal with them with the conditioning that we have brought up. As I told you in the beginning, I have to do this to please the divine. If I don't please the divine, he will punish me. And that's not true at all. And there's a beautiful verse there speaks about how he addresses us and how he addresses us if we come to him full of sins and mistakes, asking for forgiveness. He will grant us this forgiveness regardless of what we have done or did. Because his forgiveness door is always open for everyone and anyone. That shows us how much love is there in the divine. And why is that? Because this is one of the hardest lessons humans at the time try to learn. Forgive someone, forgive my own self for what happened in the past, what I perceived as a mistake, what I perceived as injustice, and did not see what comes from that. Then the suffering happens because I can't forgive. Still stuck in that. But then you can see that the divine tells you, but I'll forgive you. You don't have to do anything else. Just say, please forgive me, and you'll be forgiven. Even if you don't say it. If you feel bad and say, so why did I do it? You are forgiven. And that is something no one speaks about. We carry our mistakes and our baggage with us, so much shame. We feel what happens afterwards, it's a punishment because of that mistake, of what we think of a mistake. And that's not the divine, that's not the Quran for sure. That's my point of view. That I see it, it's a book, it speaks about mercy, it speaks about love, it speaks about unity, it speaks about compassion, it speaks about the unlimited possibilities and opportunities a person can find in one life.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Hindji, for this beautiful conversation. Thank you so much for making the myths of Quran just go away like this. It is so simple because any religion we talk about, any text we talk about, any um any holy scriptures we talk about, each one of them talks about love. Each one of them talks about compassion, about forgiveness, about union with your soul, union with your twin soul, about union with your own divine and the union within you, which makes you divine as well.
Very true. Very true. I have
Because
wrote those words. If you may, I want to
yeah, please,
share
please.
them because I do want, and because for me it was very important to say this, especially with what you know. It was very amazing that in my journey I found Method at a Shriki, because then everything just came to place.
Fell in place.
Just like, Moses, when he find that person, he just found me to the Shuja, and it came to place. And I just want to highlight those because for every person who's looking to understand, I just want to highlight those important facts I can say about Quran. So the Quran highlights the importance of transformation and the ethical values, and it represents the teachings in beautiful stories. So each story is articulated in a miracle way where it shows the reader the answer to their situation and condition. When I say miraculously written, it means that the same story will unreveal itself and the teaching according to the reader's state of mind, heart, and it will keep changing as we are changing. It is a living being. That's why we recite Quran and we contemplate on Quran for the wisdom that will transform us from inside out. It's not a book of confinement, it's a book of total liberation.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. That was amazing. Do share that verse with me. Do really
Okay.
share that piece
Thank
of
you
writing.
so much. Thank you so much, Kanchanji.
Thank you, Hind. Thank you for accepting the invite, coming on Chai Shai, sharing your wisdom. Thank you, guys out there who joined us today. We will try and post this recording on Facebook as well for you. Thank you to each one who will be joining us in future. Whichever religion you follow, whichever soul path you take, remember there is only one God, the Supreme. Remember there is only one divine, and each soul connects to their divine in their own ways. You will be guided to your journey, you will be guided to your path. Things will happen miraculously. And in the course, in the process, remember to honor each other. Remember that be it a male or a female, be it a masculine or a feminine body and your soul is in, it is all about mirroring and unity. We are all a part of the same yin and yang. We are all a part of the same universal energy. So let us come forward in love, in compassion, in grace for all of humanity to experience divinity. Thank you so much once again, Hind. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
joining
much,
us.
Kanchanji. Thank you.
And we will soon meet anytime you coming to India,
Hope soon.
anytime you visiting Shanti Kshetra, my place is on the way. And please give me the honor to host you.
Thank you so much. I can't say how much blessed I am to be with you and how beautiful you've taken this conversation today with so much ease, and how warming it feels for me to discuss this beautiful topic and my own opinions with you. I am so grateful for you for this amazing window that you offer for everyone to speak unfiltered in Chai. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you and
Bless you.
gratitude and love uh, to our Maitriya Dada Shriji for bringing us together.
Exactly. It's love. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa
Salam
barakatuh.
alaikum. Good night, Shobha Khair, guys. Do take very good care of yourself. Lots of love to each one of you. Bye bye.